Hey parents, I just wanted to encourage you this week as you're preparing to disciple your kids. I know that family worship is something that can happen every single day. Sometimes it's as you're putting a kid to bed and praying with them and just talking about their thoughts of God. And sometimes it's as you're in a car and you're driving down the road and you're praying out loud and your children hear you. But as you share this lesson this week about Jesus calling the disciples, I just wanted to point out a few things to you. What an awesome lesson it is to realize that while the normal rabbis of that culture and that time would actually have students who would apply to be their understudies. And then they would look at those students and they would choose from the highest to be their disciples or their followers. So discipleship was not a foreign concept. What was foreign was how Jesus chose his. So instead of people coming to Jesus and listing all their qualifications, Jesus went and he found ordinary people who were as normal and sometimes even just good old regular sinners like you and me. You know, when we look at the disciples that Jesus called, he chose stinky fishermen with not much to offer. He chose a tax collector who was literally hated by the Jewish people because he would cheat them out of extra money for his pocket. I was telling one of my kids, Jackson, his middle name is Nathaniel, and Nathaniel or Bartholomew was actually a friend of Philip, you know, just brought along by a friend to Jesus. And how cool is it that Jesus chose these ordinary guys to be some of his very closest friends. And disciple is a word that's kind of foreign to children. So we just explain it as disciple means a friend of Jesus, but also someone who follows in his footsteps. A disciple is someone who does what Jesus does. And when Jesus said the words, "Follow me," repeatedly throughout Scripture, what we see is they left everything. They left families, they left occupations, they left their livelihood, and they immediately followed Jesus. So encourage your kids. You know, following Jesus isn't something we wait to do until we're more mature or we've, lived for ourselves as long as we choose to. When we understand who he is, that he is the Messiah, the Son of God, we should immediately surrender our will and our plans and follow him. What a gift to see that these men did that. So Jesus had these 12 disciples, these 12 followers who just abandoned everything and followed him. As you're talking about this with your kids this week, I just wanted to share a few resources you might consider. One that I actually looked at today was God's Big Story, which is a podcast that the Village Church does. And if you go back to February, I actually think it might be February 24th, there is a podcast about Jesus calling the disciples. And it's like less than 15 minutes, and it's such an easy thing for your kids to listen to, but it's a fun way to really drive home this message. What I would really, though, ask your kids this week is, how are we really following Jesus? What kinds of things are we doing that he did? What do we care about that he cared about? And then also maybe just be honest. How are we not following him? What are the things we're doing that just aren't what he would do? What are the things we're holding on to that Jesus would not have found important? And let's talk about what real discipleship is with our kids this week. I'm praying for you as always. I love you guys, and if I can ever be a help or just a prayer warrior on your side, I'm here. I love hearing from you each week, just how your kids are doing and what they're learning, and a big family revelation you had this week. And I really appreciate those phone calls and text messages too. It just helps me know how to pray better for you and your kids.